21 minutes after the hour, America, Hugh Hewitt, joined now by United States Senator Tom Cotton. Senator Cotton, welcome. Even on a grim day, it's good to have you to speak with about this.
Thank you, Hugh. It's good to be on as always. And, of course, this is a grim day, and our thoughts and prayers are with the families of all those who were murdered by terrorists in Paris earlier today.
Tom can be followed the senator can be followed at Tom Cotton AR now. It's changed from Representative Tom Cotton, so I want people to know that. Now, Senator, it is ironic that your first full day in the United States Senate is a day of a major terrorist incident that will be understood as having strategic value. These assassins went in and targeted a media outlet and killed the police officers as well and critically injured 4 others. They've been identified. 2 of them are believed to be brothers. Maybe one of them had been previously in French captivity. They may have fought in Syria recently. This can't surprise you. You face this enemy close.
No, Hugh, it doesn't surprise me terribly. A few points to make here. This is, of course, an attack on Charlie Hebdo, the magazine, and the press more broadly, but even bigger than that, it's not an attack because of cartoons. It's an attack on the Western way of life and really civilization. The proximate cause may have been cartoons, but I would say that's more of a pretext. If these cartoons had never been published, these radical Islamic terrorists would have been trying to kill other Frenchmen or Americans or other Westerners because their real motive is they hate the Western way of life. They hate freedom. They hate democratic self-government. They hate free markets, and they want to conquer us. And that's what we have to realize with open eyes. And the only way that we can stop them is not to go into a crouching defensive posture, but to stay on offense, find them, and neutralize them, whether that means capturing them or killing them.
Now, earlier today, in an interview that I will air next hour, I spoke with your colleague, Lindsey Graham, who said flat out, the President of the United States is undercutting the President of Egypt. We are in a religious war. This is not a cartoon problem. Now, I've never heard an American political figure say we are in a religious war. In fact, we bend over backwards to assure our Muslim friends and our Muslim American friends and our Muslim friends around the world we're not at war with Islam, but we are very much at war with religious fanatics, Senator Cotton. Do you agree with Senator Graham in this respect?
Yes, Hugh, we're at war not with any kind of abstract violence or radical extremism. We're at war with radical Islamists who have a violent, nihilistic view of the Western civilized way of life. And their goal is to end that way of life. It's been that goal for decades. And we have to open our eyes that our enemies are waging that kind of religious war on us. We don't have the option to participate, or we don't have the option to avoid the war because it's being waged against us. It's been waged against us for decades. It came to our shores on 9/11, and unfortunately, we're not doing everything we can, in my opinion, either on the military or the intelligence front, to join that war, to do what's necessary to ultimately win that war.
Well, let's turn to both those fronts. You are now a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Have you had a chance to be briefed on this assassination attack today?
We have not yet received a briefing on it, no.
Okay, and you are the subcommittee chair of a Armed Services Committee? Which one?
Well, yes, it's been reported in the press today that I'll be the subcommittee chairman on armed services of the Air-Land Subcommittee, which has responsibility for the Army and the Air Force. I'll assure all my Air Force buddies out there that as a former Army soldier, I'll still treat them even-handedly.
I think it's got to be at least a bit dizzying to have gone from, were you a major or were you a captain?
I was a captain in the Army, Hugh.
Okay. No, on a grim day, I still find it amusing that next week there'll be a bunch of 4-stars sitting in front of you at some hearing, and they're going to think to themselves, I could have ordered this captain around a couple of weeks ago. That'll be kind of fun to enjoy. But in that capacity, it's very, very serious, and in the armed services generally, what Lindsey Graham argued is that we have got the worst-funded, smallest-sized army, even as ISIS is metastasizing. Do you agree with that, Senator?
No, Hugh, we are beginning to hollow out our military. Just looking at the Army and the Air Force, we're looking at I think the smallest Air Force ever since it was created as its own service branch after World War II, being carved off from the Army, and the smallest Army since before World War II. I'm a firm believer in peace through strength, but a critical component of that is the strength. The sequestration cuts to our military are hollowing out our military. It's fallen as a percentage of both the federal budget and our economy. And the simple fact of the matter is that we have to have a military that is second to none, not just to win our wars, but hopefully to deter them from starting to begin with. And right now, the president is not prioritizing the very highest priority of our federal government, which is to keep America safe.
Now, I don't know you've had a chance yet to even dive into the intelligence stuff and begin to get briefings. But do you think the containment strategy in ISIS can hold? Because earlier on the program, CNN said 400 Frenchmen have already returned from ISIS land.
No, Hugh, this is part of the problem with the president's approach to the Islamic State. He has announced a lofty and noble goal of destroying the Islamic State, but he is pursuing means that are wholly ineffective of achieving that goal. We can't simply fight the Islamic State to a stalemate in Iraq, stopping them from continuing the march to Baghdad. We have to roll them back in Iraq and in Syria. They don't respect that border, and when we're in the middle of a war, we cannot either. If we don't defeat them, then you're going to see the kind of attacks that we saw in France today, which may not have been ISIS directed. We'll know that in the coming days, but I think it's inarguable that it was ISIS inspired because of the gains they have made over the last year since the president referred to them as the JV team. And if we are not on the offense, destroying the Islamic State and humiliating them in front of the Islamic world, then they will continue to be able to recruit more fighters, to include fighters from countries like France, where we know hundreds have gone to Syria and with whom we have a expedited visa waiver program allowing them to come to the United States.
Now, here are two quotes from the president that I played for Lindsey Graham. Cut number one.
The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.
And cut number two.
Now, let's make two things clear. ISIL is not Islamic. No religion condones the killing of innocents, and the vast majority of ISIL's victims have been Muslim.
And again today, Senator Cotton, in his Oval Office remarks, they were generally judged to be ambiguous, as though he is reluctant again to enter into this, even as President el-Sisi went to the most important university in the Islamic world to denounce radicalization of Islam. He said it's a religious problem. What's wrong with the president on this thing?
Well, Hugh, I'm glad that you mentioned General al-Sisi's remarks just a few days ago calling for greater reform within the Islamic world. The president is right that Islamic terrorists often kill more Muslims than they kill of anyone else, but they are killing them because those Muslims don't subscribe to their radical view of the Muslim religion. But they're certainly waging war on Western countries, on our way of life as well. I wish that it were not the case that the Islamic State called itself Islamic. It calls itself that. Who is the president to question their own claims? We have to accept our enemies and the claims they make about themselves with clear eyes and a hard nose if we ever expect to be able to defeat them.
Last question. Are you energized by this new job? It's your first day on the job. It's got to be a little overwhelming.
Well, it's a great honor to be serving the people of Arkansas in the Senate and to be serving our country in an institution where some truly great Americans have served in the past. Today is a reminder just how serious our responsibilities are. And while, Hugh, I don't take myself that seriously or my colleagues that seriously, I hope all of them take those responsibilities very seriously.
So do we. Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas, congratulations. Follow him at Tom Cotton AR. I'll be right back, America. Your phone calls, 1-800-520.